How's it going, everybody? Bam. Back on the YouTube grind. Here with my top 24 players heading into Landon, the Spring Major at the Copperbox Arena in London. We've got 16 teams. It's going to be a hell of a fun time coming up starting next week. I believe right around this time, actually, Thursday next week. I think it's Wednesday maybe next week they start. So I figured let's get this out a week in advance. Let it simmer, and then we'll do a predictions video early next week going over the bracket. So let's take a look here at the top 24 players that I have going into Landon, the 2021-2022 RLCS Spring Major. But first, quick word from our sponsor, the subscribe button. I'm just kidding. There's not going to be a quick word. But as you can see, we are sponsored today by the subscribe button. If you liked the video, be sure to drop a like. And if you enjoyed what you saw, be sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell so you get notified whenever I upload a video, whenever I go live. And let's jump into it first with some honorable mentions. We've got 5 honorable mentions here. Starting it off, gotta give the OCE boys from love. Banana Head from Kansas City Pioneers. I think he'll be the best player on the team going into Landon. I think he'll perform pretty well, especially they got that first land under their belt in LA. They went toe to toe with Dignitas. They went toe to toe with BDS. Keep an eye out, Kansas City Pioneers looking to take away a world spot. Next up, Drees on Team Envy. Look, I didn't want him to leave G2. I think in the end it ended up being the right decision. But Drees was arguably G2's best player at that LAN in Sweden. So who knows? You partner him up with Lan Lucian, partner him up with Mist here at a LAN. Maybe Team people don't think that Envy deserves to be here. Maybe Complexity deserved it more than them, but I think Envy's going to make the most of it. Drees here on the honorable mentions list. Next up, Relating Wave. Endpoint's kind of a tricky team for me. They lost Seiko, but they got Archie. So, you maybe call that a wash, and then they just kind of go back and forth as kind of a middle, like maybe they're top 8 at a major, maybe they're not. They're right on that border. I think Relating Wave, though, has a really good performance. Metsonoris, obviously back at a LAN in front of a crowd. Obviously didn't make it to the crowd day at Los Angeles, but I think Endpoint's going to do it this time. Hopefully get him back in front of a crowd, and we'll get some Metsonoris chance in Landon. But Relating Wave is the one here on honorable mentions. King Card, obviously Furia Esports, South America's best team. I think I don't watch a lot of South America, but I really pay attention to Furia and Team Secret when they make it to majors like this. And man, Furia just, for whatever reason on lands, they just way outperform Team Secret. Like, Team Secret are really close. Like, they're right there on the edge. But Furia, man, with King Card, man, he's leading the way. Maybe this isn't the only Furia player that we'll see here on the list, but you'll have to stick around to find out. And O'Khalid. I know what you're thinking. Team Falcons, 9 regionals in a row. They swept the entire season. For Middle East, they didn't get to perform. They performed at Sweden, did really well. They swept G2, obviously performed really well. Took NRG to, I think, Game 7 or Game 6. Played really well. O'Khalid was not there, though. And then, obviously, none of them were able to go to Los Angeles due to visa issues, passport issues, whatever the case was. So I just couldn't find room for him in the top 24. But he's right there on the edge. Going by this, I'd say he's 25th. Going by this, as you'll see here, it'll go top to bottom for the rest of the rankings. But yeah, just outside the top 24, we have O'Khalid. I think Falcons will probably earn their way to where he will be in that top 24, just because I think Falcons are going to have a really good performance. But man, it's just so hard. There's guys that are going to get left off the list. As you'll see going forward. But man, right on the edge there. And let's jump into the top 24. Players 24 through 20. We got Oski for Team Liquid, Astral for Carmine Corp, Lan Lucian, Team Envy. We got Torsos from Team Power in OCE, and Arsenal from Space Station Gaming. Lan Lucian, I'm not seeing him on a lot of lists. And I don't understand it, because a lot of people bump Arsenal way up because he's got that LAN You know, he jumps up and he's screaming, and a lot of people move Calm up because he jumps up and he's screaming. Aleutian doesn't like jump up and get in your face when he scores you a goal, but he just performs on land. He just does it. He goes in, he gets it done. I don't know that Envy will do well in this tournament. Double elimination, it's super sketchy. You lose twice, you're done. You know, it's just so tight, and it's such a deep field that we've got in London this spring. But man, it's hard to leave him off a top 24 list for me. So I've got Lanlucian sneaking in there at 22. Oski and Astral right behind him. You know, they're just really good players. Torsos, come on. I wasn't going to have a top 24 list without the best player from OCE in the list. I mean, look, Power probably didn't deserve to be here in the first place, so they've got to make the most of it because they're not secured for Worlds. If they lose 2 in a row and KCP win anything, I believe KCP takes their spot at Worlds, and then it's KCP and Renegades going to Worlds. So Power might have fallen ass backwards into this major, but they got to make the most of it. And Torsos and them boys know it. He's gonna get it done. They're gonna win at least one series. Don't know who it'll be against because they got FaZe first up. But if anyone can do it, I believe in Torsos and those Power boys. And then Arsenal, obviously top 20. Man, he's just on the excitement alone of watching him on a LAN, he's got to be top 20. So there you go. Moving into the top 20 now. Players 19 through 15. We're going 5 players at a time here to start. Calm for that exact same reason as Arsenal. Version 1 and Space Station are super close. I think Calm and Arsenal are super close. But yeah. So we've got Calm there. And then a Chronic for Team Liquid. This is Team Liquid's first LAN. It's their first time, possibly playing in front of a crowd. I don't know that will really affect them because I think it'll be pretty similar actually to what we saw with Moist. Although Moist had been, a little bit more proven during regionals, Team Liquid just hadn't quite gotten that last step during regionals to win anything. But I think we could see a very similar thing. So I've got a Chronic here in the top 20. Extra, maybe a little low to some people, but look, he might be the glue that maybe holds that together. But Monkey Moon and Seiko do literally everything for that team. So Extra definitely. Couldn't put him any higher. And then Yan from Furia, like I said, I don't watch a lot of South America, but I'm tuning into Furia when they're playing at a major. I mean, this kid is unreal. Yannick's, the dude is just incredible. Like if you don't watch a lot of South American, you're like me, make sure you're watching Furia here at the major because they are so much fun to watch. They're just incredible. Yannick's just misses out on the top 15 because I had to include my guy over here. My guy over here, AJ, top 15 for FaZe Clan. They did win the last regional, mostly off the back of Sipical, who you'll notice, spoiler alert, not actually on my list. I just think, I don't want to call it a fluke. Everybody was just like, oh, FaZe Clan are super dominant. Oh, FaZe Clan, they got the win. They beat G2 twice. They actually had a negative game differential against G2. Now, granted, that's because G2 won in a sweep and then lost in a game 7 both times. So they actually beat them 10-8 overall in games. So I don't think FaZe are this like giant slayer, and obviously they're a really good team though. But yeah, I like AJ. I like First Killer. You'll see him later on in this list. Maybe pretty high up. We'll see. But yeah, AJ, I mean, I got to give him the respect that he deserves. He's top 15 easily, in my opinion. Well, not easily because he's 15, but I mean, you gotta have him up here in the top 15. Moving on, players 14 through 10. Who do we have just outside the top 10? Daniel and Beast Mode, 2 young guns, absolutely just dominating everybody that they play against. Daniel is gonna get plenty of Laniel chance. My guy over here, it's so weird because it's backwards in my camera. My guy over here, Beast Mode, his name is Landon, and they're playing a LAN it's Landon. Guys, if you don't have Beast Mode, like, this might be low, just because I know CJ had him number 1 because of that. But man, Beast Mode, it's so hard. It was so hard for me to even put him this low because of how impressed I've been with version 1. But man, he is just he's gonna pop off. Version 1, gonna be a fun team to watch. This is such a stacked major. It's definitely the best field that we've ever had for an RLCS major event, and man, I'm just super excited. Just above him, or I guess just below him in this case, Archie from Endpoint. Like I said, moving over here to Endpoint. Again, it's super hard because I don't know. I never know what to expect from Endpoint. Like, they either pop off and they get like top 2 EU, or they're kind of like FaZe. FaZe are maybe a little bit more mechanical than Endpoint as a team, but that's kind of who they remind me of. They either flame out, or they just dominate and make top 2. So I don't know. Archie's definitely the best player on that team though. So I had to give him up here, get him up here in the top 12. Joyo from Moist, maybe a little low, maybe a little high. It's hard because the Moist Esports boys have been so good, so consistent. But I don't think that they're better than BDS right now. Even though I have extra super low, I just think those top 2 guys from BDS in Monkey Moon and Seiko just carry that team so much. And Moist are just, I feel like, more like more tight together, as you'll see here later on in the list. But they're like super close. They're all super close. Any of them can be the lead guy on that team. Anybody can be the mechanical genius that they are. Obviously, Joyo has shown that prowess time and time again with Vatira and Rise. But I've got Joyo here just missing out on the top 10 because Ahmad. I mean, come on. You can't have a top 10 list without the man, the myth, the legend, Ahmad. I mean, it's just that simple. So, let's move into the top 10 though. See who's keeping him out from the top 5. Players 9 through 5, we got TRK from T Falcons, his teammate. TRK has, I think, been the best player on Falcons throughout basically the entire RLCS season 2021, 2022. I think TRK has just been that much better than Ahmad and O'Khaled, who obviously was an honorable mention. So I expect a lot from Team Falcons at this major. And then just ahead of him, I mean, why not alternate the G2 boys and the Moist Esports boys? We got Chicago, we got Vatira, we got JNaps, and we got Rise, just all in that top 5. I mean, come on. With that grand finals that we got, with with this potentially being a matchup that we see, and I believe the upper semis, again, we'll go over the bracket early next week and what my predictions will be. But, I mean, it's so hard to separate these two teams. They're just so close that, man, you gotta throw all of them here right around the top 10. So let's take a look here at our player number 4. We'll go one by one here moving forward. Top 4, let's take a look. Number 4, I talked about him a little bit earlier. It's Seiko from Team BDS. I expect a lot from Team BDS this go around. I don't think that they'll be taken to a Game 5 by a team like Pioneers. As much as I think Pioneers have grown, just including that, before that, after that. But I expect a lot from Team BDS. They're just so stacked. I mean, they're just incredible. So much fun to watch. They got, 2 of the top, 4 players. We'll see. I assume Monkey Moon's on my own list, but we'll see. But yeah, Seiko, that move was, no disrespect to Mark by 8, but that move was just such a great move for them. They needed something to spark them, and they got it with Seiko, and they've been dominant ever since. Moving on to number 3. Come on, it had to be First Killer. First Killer got to be top 3. Top 2 guys, I think, are just a little bit better in a team setting, which is why I have First Killer at 3. But First Killer is going to give you a goal and a half a game, regardless of where his team finishes. His team could finish dead last, losing to Game & Gladiators in a sweep. First Killer is going to be putting up 3 goals. Like, that's just how it is. FaZe could have the absolute worst performance. First Killer is going to have 700 points. He's just that good. He can carry a team by himself. He can make the players around him better, but not better than the 2 guys that we have in front of him. Let's take a look at number 2, Monkey Moon from Team PDS. I talked about him earlier. That team is so much fun to watch. They're so good. They're so just united. They're so together. They're just in sync. Every match that I watch them play, they're just so good. And man, it's going to be so much fun to watch them potentially play number 1. We got it at the Winter Major in the group stage. Monkey Moon versus Atomic and G2 Esports. That's right. the Winter Major MVP, Atomic from G2 Esports, is my number one player heading into the Spring Major. Now, you might say that it's a little biased. You know, you got the G2 hat. I'm a G2 fan, whatever. But G2's just been a different animal since they got Atomic. You know, they were a little bit back and forth there that first split with him. They got to the Winter Major. They popped off with him. It's super hard to replicate what he did in back-to-back majors, but I think if anyone can do it, it's Atomic with those boys, Jane Epps and Chicago, right behind him. Thank you guys so much for listening to my top 24. Do you have anybody that you agree with, anybody that you disagree with, somebody that I left out maybe? Drop it in the comments down below. Let me know what your predictions are, as we'll see mine, like I said, coming up earlier next week. But yeah, let me know if you guys enjoyed the video down below in the comments section. This has been Bam Deadstrokes, top 24 heading into the Spring Major in London for RLCS 2021-2022. And I will see you guys next time. Peace out.